Hey guys, this is Sean from Make Them Suffer, and you're listening to Interview Under Fire. Pew pew pew.
Let's get things going here. I want to
Yeah,
welcome,
sure.
obviously, Sean back to interview in a fight, bro. This has been like out of anyone I've met personally, of course, one of the raddest and humble dudes, not only the industry but really anyone I've met. Sean, I mean, such an honor to have you back again. Of course, I don't even think I asked you this. How are you? Are you
I'm
good?
I'm I'm great, dude. Yeah, I'm just chilling.
Dude, I know we hung out here in Dallas about 5 months ago, and so much has happened since then. I mean, aside from us getting haircuts, like we just talked about, you
Yeah,
ripped through,
yeah.
you fucking ripped through the US with an amazing tour with Era, of course, played through these myriad of summer festivals, and then finished up with an Australian tour, Suffer Forever. And then you had that album announcement of your self-titled dropping on November 8th. You want to take a deep breath here, Sean? Because I feel like you've been on this like breakneck pace lately. Like, have you had the chance to just take this all in? Maybe take this moment to do that. So
Yeah, I mean, I would love a break, to be honest. It's been so hectic, and then like after this, a week from now we'll be playing a festival in I'm gonna say this pronounce this wrong, Hangzhou in China.
Oh,
So it's
have
going to be our
you
first
played
time
in
going to
China
China.
before? Okay, I was gonna ask
No,
that. Oh my gosh.
no. And
So
then a week after that, we're playing New Zealand for a weekend, and then we're going back to Europe again. So like we've got three more international trips before Christmas, and I'm just I would
dude,
like some time at home, please.
I mean, having said all that, I do want to congratulate you on all the well of recognition your music has been getting so far. Obviously, plenty of amazing things to discover about this album of the year contender because I broke the replay button on this, which we'll get to in a second. But
Sweet.
okay, you're talking about China. Are you nervous? Are you excited? Let's do a little pre-tour prep here for someone like you. Like
I,
how, like what's going on in the head of yours as you're planning for this, dude?
do you know what? I have absolutely no expectations and sort of no idea what to expect. I don't know how many people there's going to be there. I don't know what the conditions are going to be like. I don't know. I'm just, it's kind of one of those things where, the money kind of made sense, but we're definitely like, it's more like we wanted to do it for the experience because we've never
Hmm.
been to China before. It's going to be really cool. So I'm super excited to play that. And we're one of two headliners on a music festival. The other headliner is Caliban, and I love Caliban. I've been,
Fucking A, I love Caliban. Shout out to those guys.
yeah,
They've been on our show before too.
yeah.
Uh,
So super excited. So hopefully they play some of their classics that I used to listen to back in the day when I was first getting into this genre, sort of thing. So
Very
yeah,
underrated band. I feel like they don't get a lot of recognition. They kind of just they float around, but they do their shit well. And you know it's Caliban when at least for me, I know it's Caliban when I hear it. So
yeah,
that's pretty sick, bro. But hey, the metalheads go crazy there, man. If I guess we're crazy here in North America, you Aussies are
yeah,
crazy like you guys are, but man, in Asia, that part of like the metal, I guess the heavy metal culture they
yeah,
go harder. So
yeah,
I
yeah, for
may
sure.
have to check back in with you once that tour ends. So
Yeah,
here,
definitely.
Sean, I want to do something here because I want to switch some perspectives around because one of my favorite things about you is how humble you are. I mentioned the tours that you guys just destroyed as of late, but I do want to talk about a concert that you attended recently, and I want to give you this chance to talk about it. Parkway Drive, because
Yeah,
that recent tour that they were on. Can you give me like you went and saw that production, dude? I haven't seen this.
yeah,
This is just stuff that I've seen from other videos. I know I've seen Alex posted her videos when she went.
yeah.
But tell me about this. What did you love most about it? Did you get goosebumps like going in? Like I don't know what you were expecting coming out. Did you feel reborn like a kid again as you're going to see someone like
Yeah.
Parkway that we grew up listening to?
Yeah. Man, that was absolutely incredible. And I think my favorite, I did get goosebumps during the set when they did this. In their set, they had this medley of songs and they played like probably 10 songs back to back off, uh, you know, what's the album with the cons? It's Killing with a Smile. And then
Yeah, yeah,
even the
yeah.
one they even played a song from the one before that as well, which was is that Dead
Horizons?
Cold? No, no, no. It was like
No, before
Dead in
Horizons.
My Dead in My Arms
Oh,
or
that,
Cold Day in
yeah.
Hell or
I
something like that.
man,
Yeah,
I
I
know.
think Cold Day in Hell might have been. Anyway, the previous
Throwback.
release to that as well. So some super old songs that they played and just back to back in succession. And it was like all the best bits from every song. And like some people didn't like it because they were upset that they didn't play, the whole song sort of thing. But for me, I thought it
Yeah.
was just perfect. It was like all the moments that you needed to listen to, and it just took me back. And it was by far the most energetic part of the set as well, because it had all the, call out breakdowns, the 2006,
Dude.
sort of style breakdowns and stuff. So the crowd was going crazy.
Yeah, the stuff that you
And
grew up listening to, right?
yeah, yeah, it was actually funny when during the performance, Winston was like, "Yeah, we actually filmed the music video to this song at the YMCA HQ, which is the local all ages venue at the city at Perth where we're from,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like a famous venue. But when they said, when he said YMCA HQ and shouted it out, the entire arena of like 10,000 people was like, yeah. And I'm just thinking, like, you can't have all been to HQ. We used to play that. It doesn't fit 10,000 people. How do you?
Dude.
So it's cool that venue has sort of, got a bit of a name now. But I mean, yeah, they can't all have gone to HQ because we were in the trenches playing those gigs there. And yeah, it definitely wasn't 10,000 people. But yeah, so that was sick. And then just the production was crazy. Like one stage, it was sort of like, a stage and then a catwalk that Winston could walk out on. And then that catwalk later um, raised up and it
Yeah,
was
I
like a
was
platform and there was like, flames shooting from every which angle from underneath the sort of like raised platform to like, shooting upwards from the platform. And they had like, backing dancers and all just anything you can imagine. It
I
was, yeah, it was
saw
pretty.
I saw a photo that they posted the first photo, I guess one of the first
Mm,
photos, and then I saw it was one of the photos where it had like the wide angle, and
yeah,
I saw there was like fire like midair. I was like, is that a platform that's raising? Is there somebody on standing in the middle of that? Is that Winston?
yeah,
Like, I would have
yeah,
I would have shit my pants if that was. I mean, got like someone like whoever could it be? Just me just standing there and it's just raising. Just I mean,
yeah.
the adrenaline must have been through the roof. I mean, not even just for the band, even for someone like you, that's
Mm.
it's
Well, our friends supported them, Void of Vision,
oh,
um,
love those guys.
and they were saying that on one of the shows because they had so much production on one of the shows that they just spent the entire day like building, and then something went wrong with one of the things in the production, and they had to Vision weren't able to play because they were still like trying to get everything safety approved and stuff for all the platforms and everything. So it just goes to show
Yeah.
like the scale of production that they had was just, I don't know, absolutely insane. It's crazy.
Dude, that's
Mm.
insane. Thanks for sharing all that. I had to get
Yeah.
someone like you for providing me this perspective. I don't know if Parkway's going
Yeah.
to bring something like that over here to the States. I think they have actually. Actually, I think you guys came through the States with that sort of production, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's that
That
was
was
that's the production they've been running with for the last like 3 years or so. This next the one that they just did in Australia was like a step up from that because they had the platform and everything. But certainly like yeah, they came through the States. They had all the pyrotechnics and the spinning drum riser and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's still definitely like a spectacle to see.
we gotta get Jordan on one of those.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll be able to handle
Jordan,
that.
when we toured with Parkway in the States, and when we did, Jordan got to sit in that and
Oh,
try
did
and
he?
play upside down. Yeah, it was. I don't think he did. Like,
I
I think
mean,
it's something you have to get used to. You really have to like spend some time like practicing playing upside down. It must be an entirely different feeling. Hey.
like talk about a brush of blood to the head and then still being a metalhead at the same time. I mean, Ben Gordon's got it down pat, but hey,
Yeah,
Jordan,
yeah,
you're next. But man, these tours obviously, and of course your tours, to be specific, I mentioned the Suffer Forever tour. Sean, I remember you mentioning the amount of pressure that you were feeling coming into that run. That Suffer Forever tour is done now, But you were
Yeah.
mentioning how much pressure that you felt. Now that we're on the other side of it, right? We just talked about
Mm,
one of your favorite shows you've been to. That run is finished. People know who the fuck you are, man, and now they're ready to hear this new material. Having
yeah.
said all that, what was I guess what was your biggest takeaway from the Suffer Forever tour? And I guess what did you also learn about yourself that you may not have known before that tour started?
Um, That's tough to say. I
Putting
mean,
you on the spot.
I I, I was still so I like nothing changed. Like even after the fifth, sixth show of the tour, before every show of that tour, I was still very nervous. I think just like the pressure of knowing that it was like a step up from in terms of production value and just like scale to anything we'd ever done. And we were also like playing a more varied set list. Like we played a song called The Attendant in the middle of it, which is like
Oh
the
my God.
the ballad. It's got, everyone got the phone lights out or whatever, that kind of vibe. So something we've never really done before. And I guess if there was a takeaway from the end, at the end of it all, it's that we could do it. And I think after the final boss for us, I think was kind of like the show at the Forum, which was the Melbourne show, which was kind of directly in the middle of the run.
Yeah,
And I think tensions were lifted a little bit after we got that show out of the way, and it was sort of like the rest of the shows.
really.
The pressure was off, and I think we sort of proved that we could kind of do it. But I think the build up and a lot of like the nervousness we were feeling was all surrounding that show at the Forum, because that's the show. I mean, it sold out the quickest or one of the quickest, and it's a very famous, iconic venue in Melbourne. It had the biggest stage in terms of just size and scale of any of the venues that we played, and also it's just like where all the friends live and all the industry people and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, there was a bit of added pressure with that show at the Forum for us. And yeah, once we kind of did that, I think that we probably we know we can do that, and I'd say we feel like a new
Hmm.
band. Like the next, we're ready to we feel like that was the proving grounds, and now we feel like we have taken that next step, and we are ready to be like on that next level up or whatever, and hopefully future headliner runs uh are as successful or more successful than that, and we can keep growing with the current level of production that we have and stuff in our Australian headline circuits.
Sean, I feel like a sense of pressure is a good thing, because
Mm,
I believe it shows that you care about the craft that you've created. Because I mean, if you didn't care, I feel like you wouldn't have felt that sense like, oh, it's just another show. It was another show. This thing you built since what, 2008, and now
mm,
it's selling out this iconic venue, and you're about to play in front of all these like thousands of people, hundreds of people. I
mm,
mean, hundreds to thousands now. I mean, that's at this point, but I think it really shows that how much hard work you put in, and you're seeing results, bro. So just make sure you
mm.
know that. All right. So definitely
Oh,
something to
thanks, man.
celebrate. And
Thank you.
when you said The Attendant, I got goosebumps. You can't tell, but that's the song that I mentioned. How to Survive a Funeral changed my 2020. That's the song that did it for me. So the fact that I don't think you guys played that live when you guys came through Dallas.
No.
I'm not,
But
yeah.
maybe
So
if we might be able to play a song like that or that
okay.
song, I'm not sure if we
Well, I
come
may
back and
cry
ever
again.
have a
Just
headliner set. So
and
yeah.
and I don't know we had a chance to go through this last time because I know we had so much to talk about last time when you came through in the summer. Sean, I don't know if you get a chance to talk about this that much, but your influences, you have one hell of a range, bro. Whether it's personal or professional, right?
Mm,
Your influences, like who were they and what do they mean to you? When I hear your voice, when I first heard your voice, the singer that I was thinking of, and this is crazy because they're making a comeback now. Chester
mm,
Bennington was the first person that I thought of when I heard your voice. Maybe throwing a
mm.
little Oasis in there, but can you? I don't know if you've heard any of this before. This is just my
Yeah, yeah.
perspective, but I do want to
Yeah.
know about your influences because uh, I, your talent is just ridiculous. So tell me more about this if you can, just briefly.
Yeah, sure. Well, yeah, certainly for like my pitch yelly stuff, melodic screaming, I guess you could call it. Chester Bennington is I've always thought he was the GOAT at that sort of stuff. So I did, yeah, he's a big influence for sure, and Hybrid Theory is one of my most listened to albums, definitely.
Oh
And
shit.
yeah, you're not wrong in I wouldn't say, I mean, not necessarily Oasis, but a lot of I don't even want to say Britpop, but a lot of, when it comes to singing, I suppose that style of singing, we have a thing here in Australia called Triple J, and a lot of the bands
Okay.
uh, kind of, I suppose yeah, Aussie rock bands and Britpop bands and British rock bands have that kind of similarity where the accents can kind of sound similar when they're sung, and they have a similar tonality or timbre to them, the voices, I think. So that is yeah, so just that kind of um I don't know, genre or collection of artists, I suppose, like Aussie rock,
Yeah.
Triple J rock, and like Britpop, I suppose. Yeah, definitely influences. And then like going back to when we would had a more black metal sound like Never Bloom. Probably my biggest influences were like there was a band called Belphegor. Is a band called Belphegor. I used to
Yeah.
listen to them heaps. And I loved the dude's highs on their really early stuff, like Pest Apocalypse, I think is one album where he does the really gurgly like thing that so
As
that
you're
kind of
as you're
inspired
as you're
me to
talk
do
as you're
that.
talking about, I'm looking down because I'm actually adding Belfegor songs on my Spotify list, so you're good. So
Yeah,
I'm
cool.
actually
Yeah,
updating my
yeah.
playlist. Yes,
Yeah,
those
sick.
guys are so good.
Yeah, yeah. Belfagor were awesome, and we used to listen to a lot of Dimmu Borgir. I
Yep.
mean, back then Abigail Williams was pretty big, and
Oh my
I
God.
guess for like I've always liked just whatever. I mean, this exactly what you would expect. Your Parkway Drive, and Kill Switch Engage were really big for me, and yeah, lots of lots of bands, honestly. Meshuggah was always massive
Yeah.
for me, but I don't know if Meshuggah's like necessarily influenced my vocals in any way, but I did listen to a lot of it.
I feel
At
like
one stage,
I feel like Meshuggah's influenced everyone at some point, no matter
yeah,
whether it's the music, whether it's their presence on stage, whether it's just the art, it's
yeah.
they've had a massive influence on everybody.
Oh,
So,
for sure. Yeah,
yeah.
without question. I remember I can't remember who it was, but someone on my Instagram feed that was he it was someone that played in the band. I can't quite remember who it was, but
Hmm.
they said Meshuggah is the reason we are all friends. And I was like, that's so true, because it's
That
like
is
all the people throughout all the genres. I mean, even people that don't even listen to that much metal, they still like Meshuggah. You know what I mean?
even Bill
Um,
Burr, the comedian, he
Even
listens to
Bill Burr,
Meshuggah.
exactly. Yeah,
Shout out to Bill Burr because when I heard that,
yeah,
that was one podcast I kept like replaying. It's like, really? He's a drummer. I think he mentioned something like that. Talk about Tomas Hawk and just his that those guys are like in their 50s, Sean, and they're still doing what
yeah.
they're doing. So
Mm.
I think you guys can go as far as you can go. It's always interesting to me on what other styles of music would a musician take on aside from their main genre, like because we just mentioned so many of them. And
Yeah.
let's mention the new album, okay? I feel like we talk about everything except this self-titled. This drops November 8th on Sharp Tone. First things first.
Mhm.
I know how great of a singer you and Alex are, but can we please give a round of applause to Nick, Jaya, and Jordan? Because those three dudes, they don't get talked about as much. Okay. Not only are they
Mm.
great musicians, but they're just great human beings. I remember Jaya like meeting up with him in Dallas before the show. He went to go see Star Wars Episode One. He
Oh,
went to go
really?
see a
Yeah.
movie
He's
before
he's obsessed. He's obsessed with Star Wars. That's like his whole, yeah.
we were just texting
I'm
memes back and forth before he came back. I was like, "Are you gonna make
hell.
it back before your set, bro?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm good, I'm good."
I think he's got like two or three Star Wars tattoos. Hey, he's the Star Wars guy. I'm the Lord of the Rings guy, and
That new
yeah,
series is
we
coming out.
sometimes argue about that.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
I'm probably not gonna watch it, to be honest. I don't know.
I
I
haven't
didn't
got
even watch
around
the
to it,
third.
so I haven't got
Yeah, I
around
didn't
to
even
it,
watch.
so
I couldn't even watch the third Hobbit. I watched the first two, and I was like, that's. I'm just not going to bother anymore. But I also love Star Wars, and I kind of stopped paying attention after a while as well. So
Okay. That's pretty amazing. But
Yeah.
yeah, we were te just texting like Star Wars memes back and forth. You guys were here on May the
Yeah.
4th. So if anyone didn't know, they were here
Ah,
on
no shit.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's why they would have had the screening for yeah,
Yeah,
cool, cool.
we actually went to go see it that morning before we came and met up with you guys. So
Ah,
th
nice,
that
nice.
was just a great day altogether.
I
But
love the Phantom Menace. I think it's a really underrated one.
right? God, so many people hate it for some reason, but that's out and for me, I saw that twice, no, actually three times now that we're mentioning it. But that's such a nostalgic piece of film for me. I mean, you can talk about the
People,
dialogue.
yeah, people don't like Jar Jar Binks, but like, hey, like 8 year old me or however old I was, absolutely loved Jar Jar Binks. Like he was perfect for
Absolutely, bro.
that role.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I didn't
And
care for that much. It was just people, it was just I think it was just the older generation who didn't appreciate it, but
yeah, I feel like it was such an action packed movie. Like the underwater scene is super cool. There's always a bigger
yeah.
fish, and then the racing scene, and
The
uh,
lightsaber fight, dude. I mean, that's like
yeah, the lightsaber fight.
as a kid, dude, I became a I went to film school because of that lightsaber fight. I went home and me and James, my brother, shout out to him, we wrote a whole movie based off of that fight. And we called our
That's
movie The Light Fighters because we had
yeah.
no other name to come up with. Anyway, that's just another
I,
factoid
I I
that you
love
don't know
all.
about me, but
That's awesome. I love all the memes that people make of like it'll be like me waiting in line for my McDonald's order or something, and it's just Darth Maul like walking back and forth, waiting for the
oh
screen
yeah.
to open again.
Oh my God, dude. What a have you seen the movie Fanboys? Just throwing this out there.
No,
Okay,
no,
when
I
you get a
haven't.
chance, find that movie. It's literally about that time, about four friends who actually go across the country to steal a copy of episode one before it's released. And it takes place in
Oh wow,
1999. Yeah, it's hilarious. It's so funny.
that's cool.
This was before the new episode
Is
of Star
it
Wars came
based
by.
off a true story?
No, it's just an idea.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
It was after episode three was done, and we didn't know if there was going to be a seven, eight, and nine. Of course, now there is seven, eight, and nine. But
Mm.
Fanboys came out, and I told myself this is the next best thing we're going to have to another Star Wars movie. And of course, now seven, eight, and nine came out. But I highly recommend Fanboys for someone like you. Now that we're being nostalgic about it, but
Yeah, cool, definitely, 100%.
now getting back to we're gonna go off the reels here, bro. I thought you guys getting back to the topic here, I thought you guys arrived with How to Survive a Funeral. Okay. I told you this in
Mm.
person. I told you this 4 years ago. I'm telling you again now. I think I may have been mistaken because I broke the replay button on this album, this new album. No one is doing it the way you are. Again, you guys are evolving not only as a band, but you're evolving the genre of deathcore, if you could even call it that. I remember when we had Mike from Devil Wears Prada on our show a couple years
Mm.
back. He said something that stuck with me. He said they're not thinking about expanding the metalcore genre; they're bringing new sounds into it, and I think that's what you guys are doing with deathcore. I don't even know if you can call it that anymore because blending
Mm.
these sounds of like metalcore, death metal, symphonic elements. Like I know it's you guys. You even went ahead and said, I think it's the truest representation of make them suffer as a band. Do you still feel that way?
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And I think that's that's partly why we wanted to go with the self-titled name for this album is because I think we've never had a sound that sounds more like a band that is called Make Them Suffer before. You know, like Worlds Apart is one of our favorite my favorite albums of ours actually, and
Yep.
that does not sound like a band that sounds like Make Them Suffer, if that makes any sense. But right now
Yeah.
I just feel like yeah, we've just like pushed ourselves into a space musically where things are sounding really good, or really cohesive. I think the songs overall on the album, it's the most cohesive album that we have, I think, and like our songwriting is the best it's ever been because we've had more experience and more time to get it right. So yeah, I'm super. Yeah, we're all very proud of this one for sure.
As you're telling me this, James is actually writing a review for your album, so I'll get that to you once it's out.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, you're gonna love all the things he has to say, from
Oh,
Weaponized to
beautiful.
Doom Switch to Ghost of Me to okay, my I can't choose between these two. It's either Small Town Syndrome or Man of God. Those
Mm,
two I think I've listened to the most.
yeah.
I I also believe that this album showed different sides of you and
Mm,
you personally.
mm.
Yeah, it showed different sides of the man, but I think you too. But walk me through this, man. I know the sounds that I have mentioned. I wonder how much did things change from when you first started composing on this album to where you ended up finishing it? Did a lot change in between? Did nothing change? Which is also fine.
Mm.
Did you have a specific sound from day one?
Well, Doom Switch was the first song that we recorded, and and so Doom Switch and Ghost of Me, were the early ones, and the songwriting process for those was obviously very different from the rest of the album, where they were kind of like pre-pro songs that we'd written outside of the studio, or before we kind of yeah, started the actual album production, I suppose. They were just only written as singles, and then as we began to write more and more riffs and more songs and lyrics, we realized that yeah, this is something cohesive, and let's try and get a whole album out of it. So then we booked studio time with our good friend Jeff Dunn in Portland, and we between tours we stayed there and recorded, and yeah, recorded basically in the space of 2 weeks all the instruments and
Wow.
vocals and guitars and everything for the album. Yeah, including live drums, which was, you know,
Holy
in the
shit.
space of two. If for those who know like how an album recording goes, an album's like 10 or 11 tracks or something like that.
Yeah.
The drum, drum to record drums typically takes about 4 days or something like that for an album. And we did the whole record, including all vocals, guitars, and bass in the space of 2 weeks. So it's the tightest squeeze ever. And we went in there with like 70% written songs, if you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
then, it was in the studio that like a lot of the final arrangements took place. I wrote the entirety of the lyrics in the studio. And I remember finishing, we had a flight at 5 a.m. or no, it was a like 6 a.m. flight on the last day or the day after the last day of recording sort of thing. And I remember finishing recording the very last scream at like 4:30 or something like that, and then getting straight in a taxi and going straight to the airport to start the next tour. So it was it was close. It was super tight. And I think, that's how we've always liked to do it with our albums, is putting ourselves in a high pressure situation.
Kind of like packing
To
for a last minute trip.
Yeah,
Or
the thing,
packing for a trip that you know you're like planning 8 months out, but you still pack the day before, like I do.
yeah, yeah, that's right, that's right. Well, like while a lot of the songs were like 70% done before we got into the studio, I think, Nick and I were very much so on the same wavelength, in that we knew exactly like what the goal was with the record and where we wanted the songs to go. And it's just that he lives on the East Coast, I live in Perth, and it's sometimes, to finish up a lot of it, to get those songs to a final stage. A lot of the time it does take, him and I being in the same room and talking about stuff. So that was just, the best and first opportunity we got to have those like sort of like last minute conversations and tie up those loose ends for a lot of those songs. So yeah, and yeah, I don't know, I'm stoked. I mean, I'm very happy with how the record turned out. It was very like high pressure situation, but yeah, I think, like as I say, it's like, yeah, the most cohesive, and
Yeah.
we're also able to like kind of spread our wings and experiment a little bit with it. I think like lyrically, for me, like it's kind of a direction I haven't really gone in with lyrics before, where there's a little bit more like social commentary, and just the setting that the album kind of like takes place in is very different to anything we've done before. So yeah, it's all exciting stuff.
I was gonna ask like if you get into that trap one of those times where the album process is done, then you go back and listen to it, and then you listen to your vocal tracks, you're like, oh shit, I should have done it this way. Do you ever fall into that trap? And then when you do fall into that trap, hypothetically, you go on
Mm.
stage and then you do it the way that you may could have done it differently. Do you ever get into that mindset?
Yeah, 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 for sure. I mean, there's a lot of, and a lot of that stuff is like you're in the studio and you're banging your head against the wall trying to figure out, well, I
Yeah, yeah,
know
yeah.
this isn't like 100%, but I can't figure out what the right answer is for this, or if I'm singing this one in a different particular way, maybe that would be better. But yeah, and then like as soon as you leave the studio, it's like, ah, of course, that's what it should have been. But you know,
Yeah.
so some of that stuff we did manage to fix up after leaving the studio, where some of it was like arrangement stuff, and we were like, actually, we're just going to do a little stitch job here and change this song a little bit. Um, of course, in terms of like stuff that was vocal delivery stuff, too late to change that,
Yeah.
but that's okay because I think a lot of you really I just find that that's a lot of that stuff is I'm so close to the project obviously, and that stuff I think is much more obvious in my own head than it would be for anyone else that's listening. And in fact, a lot of the stuff that I would want to you know tweak or whatever, most people wouldn't notice that there's anything wrong with it at all, I don't think so. Yeah, that's just, you're always going to feel that way as an artist.
Yeah.
But I think that sometimes when you kind of don't want things to be too perfect and polished anyway. It's the like little mishaps and mistakes I think in this year that make a record or a song more interesting, in my opinion. And when you've had too much time and you've overthought it and over tweaked it, I find a lot of songs and albums, we've definitely like had songs and albums that have been like overcooked. And I think it's really important to just like sometimes just let something be what it is. And if that's how it turned out in the studio, then so be it. Like you're not, we're not like Calvin Harris out here trying to write like the perfect like pop song or whatever. So
You
I
could.
think like it's the yeah.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
you have the capability to do that. Again, I'm just one out of billions of people out there in the world, but you have what it takes to do something like that if you wanted to.
Nah.
Of course, like between writing and structuring the songs, the production process, production process, excuse me, like we just talked about. I love that this album is driven by themes of abandonment and resentment and
Mm,
mental health, and
mm,
I feel like it's all woven with like this unbridled authenticity, reflecting the band's experiences. You guys each individually. Small Town Syndrome. I'm gonna go back to that song because I
mm.
think I have it right here because it describes someone trying to flee their hometown and the paranoia surrounding it. I just watched Good Will Hunting recently, and then that exactly came into my head. It's like, wow, that's exactly what that guy is going through. He's grew up in this town in Boston and he doesn't want to leave, but when he does, there's that paranoia that sets in. Like
Yeah.
that is so the granular detail that you provide in these songs, it really
Mm,
sticks with you after you hear it. That's probably why it's my favorite. The fact that you even placed it as the last track, it really
mm.
carries the entire album well. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you felt the
No,
same way, but that's spoke to someone like me.
but yeah, most people that I've done the interviews with, their favorites, like pretty much everyone I've spoken to that have said their favorite was Small Town Syndrome. And from the start, I think Small Town has always been my favorite. It hasn't been the other members of the band's favorite, but everyone has thought it was a strong song and they all really enjoyed it. I think that Small Town Syndrome is one of the few songs that is written um in the higher tuning.
Yeah.
So you can still play it in the same tuning, but you're playing it like a string up or whatever.
In that case, I'm going to change
So
mine to a Man of God.
yeah, so it's like yeah, it's very close to like a How to Survive a Funeral track. I think it's kind of like taking what we did on How to Survive a Funeral and bringing it to the next level. And you know, for me, I just think that Small Town Syndrome has like it's by far the most fun. It was the most fun to write the lyrics for because I guess the topic of the lyrics was very fun, but also just I feel like it's very sing-alongable too,
Yeah.
or like you could rap along to it kind of thing. It's almost like the Lose Yourself of the album or something like that. You know what I mean? And I've always wanted to have a song
That's a
like that
good
that people are gonna,
perspective.
I just it's super fun. I think the vocals are really fun on that track, and it's like it's a track with a lot of momentum. Like it never slows down. It's just kind of a very attention grabbing. So yeah, I don't know. I love that song.
I
It's
appreciate that
probably my
perspective.
favorite.
No, seriously,
Yeah.
I really, really appreciate that perspective, Sean. We're gonna wrap
Mm.
things up here really soon. I just had a couple more for you. I know we've covered a great deal of topics on this conversation. It, bro, it's always great to have you back on here. I know the discussions we've had over the years now, I can say, are just so
Yeah.
in depth and enjoyable. You being so true to yourself and sharing your perspectives on this podcast, you make my job easy, Sean. That's what I'm trying to say. And
Thanks, man.
I really can't wait to see this next chapter of not just MTS unfold, but for you because. I told you how to survive a funeral over and over and over, changed my life, right, in 2020.
Mm.
And for that
Mm.
album to be life-changing, I get sentimental when I listen to an album like that. Maybe two other albums I can name make me feel like that.
Mm.
The other two is Smashing Pumpkins' Siamese Dream and Chevelle's Wonder What's Next.
Sick. I love those
Having said
albums.
that, what album is your How to Survive a Funeral?
Oh shit. Fuck. Can I check Spot?
We'll end it there.
Man, damn, I'm gonna be so upset at myself if I can't think of something right now. Fuck, what
You
a
can say what you want, and then you can just DM me later. Hey, actually, it's this,
yeah.
and then we'll just like dub
Um,
it.
an album that is, I honestly, I'm honestly drawing a blank here. Like, I guess, like, I'll just say, like, a Misery Signals album
Oh,
for now.
nice. That's a
Controller is a really big album for me, and
that was one of the
you know,
first Healthy albums I listened to, actually. Wow.
yeah, well, yeah,
Holy
I
shit.
love that record a lot. I'll probably message you later and come back and want to change it or something like that. But in
To
terms
be,
of like yeah, in terms of like a metalcore band, I mean,
yeah.
yeah, that would be up there. I mean, Siamese Dreams up there for me as well. That's a good
Mm-hmm.
one. A lot, Smashing Pumpkins were a very, I suppose. Oh, and then I'd have to put a Deftones album, like
There we
maybe
go. Now we're getting somewhere.
it's probably Saturday Night Wrist or
Okay.
you
White
know, I
Pony.
guess yeah, White Pony's pretty cool.
Okay, okay.
No, I love White Pony. I mean, it's tough. I like those three albums in succession. So White Pony, self-titled, and Saturday Night Wrist, and then Koi no Yokan. And
Yeah.
I've listened to Diamond Eyes too many times. It's been overplayed. So
No, no. There's no such thing as listening to Diamond Eyes too many times. Okay, let me put that on the record. Can I be honest with you? I almost
yeah.
can't listen to How to Survive a Funeral just because it takes me like I get my heart almost sinks to a point. Like those albums, I can't listen to them all the time because it takes me back to that mindset. And like when I'm driving, it's like okay, I gotta turn it off. Like I gotta go to like Cannibal Corpse immediately because it's like it's like because that's like because that album means so much to me it deserves its time because it's so
Mm,
precious.
mm.
So yeah, in other words, like thank you for doing what you do, Sean. Like your music literally saved my life and James's life. So when we met you all those months ago, it meant a lot to us. Now we're gonna finish things off on this, okay?
Yeah.
It is Halloween soon, okay? Man, I've been putting you on the spot all podcast. I don't know if you can do this. Let's see if you can do this. Can you give me
Yeah.
your top five horror films just off the top of your head?
Yeah, I could probably try.
Don't say Halloween one, two, three, four, five, please.
I
As
love
someone who did
Hellraiser.
that.
Do you That's sick. I love Hellraiser, the first one. That one's sick.
Oh, sick. I haven't had that one yet. That's a
Um,
good one.
Hereditary is awesome. I really loved that.
Oh my
I
God.
like yeah, quite a lot of the newer ones. Like I love I mean it's not that new, but I thought Insidious was really awesome. Like just the first Insidious.
Yeah,
Um, for
that's
I
three.
guess yeah, I guess like a Nightmare on Elm Street, maybe.
Perfect.
Nah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I'll go with
okay.
that one. I'll go with that
The
one.
original, right? Or
Yeah, yeah, the
okay,
original, just
okay,
for the nostalgia, because I remember
okay.
watching that as a kid. And favorite horror film of all time.
I'm expecting you to say this, but I don't think you're gonna say it, but I'll say it after you do.
Oh man, yeah, that's tough. I guess I'll just go. I'm just gonna roll with like The Conjuring or something. That's fine.
Okay, okay. I thought you were gonna say something like from the Alien franchise, because
Okay, right.
bro, have you seen Romulus yet? I don't know if you're familiar with that franchise to
No,
start with.
no. So like
Okay.
I'm one of those weirdos that like prefers Alien to Aliens.
I love Aliens, dude. That's one of my top
Yeah,
films. Okay, that's James's favorite actually, Alien, because Alien
yeah,
broke so many boundaries for sci-fi, psychological, and horror. But
yeah.
Aliens does it for me. Dude, you need to see Long Legs. The films that you just mentioned, have you heard about this? The Nicolas Cage film?
Oh, no.
Oh my God, dude. Okay, so this, sorry,
Hmm.
I'm getting so excited.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
this
nah.
this dropped this past summer. I think it's still in theaters, and I think it'll drop on a home video soon, but it's Longlegs. It's about a serial killer. And if you've seen movies like Seven, Zodiac,
Yeah.
what other serial killer movies? Like even like throwing some Dexter in there, but this movie blends in that like dark atmospheric tone. Well, I'm getting goosebumps now just talking about it. I highly recommend it. So
Long legs. Yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
wanted to watch it. I was going to. It was in cinemas recently in
yeah.
a couple of months ago, and I had an opportunity to go see it, and
It's so
I just
uncomfortable, dude.
decided to stay home. But yeah,
It's so uncomfortable. I took a date with me to go see it, and I could not stop moving around on my seat. And she kept looking at me like, she's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm good." I just kept adjusting my posture in my seat because
that's so
the
funny.
scenes were just so uncomfortable. Anyway, that's what I
Yeah.
appreciate about horror movies.
Yeah. I
But
can't
anyway,
I can't I can't see horror films in cinema because I like often will yell or let out a yelp in the really scary bits.
yeah, they're gonna get the
It's really
Sean from Make Them
embarrassing.
Suffer yell, and you're gonna scare everybody else instead. So
Yeah.
if you do that, watch
Yeah.
out.
Just dropping blares in the cinema.
Random question. Dolmades, what's the deal with that? Why do you love them so much?
I mean they're delicious. I don't know. That's just me paying a bit of homage to my Greek heritage, I suppose.
Okay,
Uh
because so I'm from Bangladesh. We have those a lot too.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, so
They are
Dolmades. So
tasty.
yeah, they really are, dude. So I had to ask about that. That's literally like on your bio. It's like, huh,
No, oh,
you
that
must
people
love
used
them
to
that much.
people used to that that's my nickname with a lot of people. On my
What?
on my in-ear monitor pack, you know, you've got the in-ears and then the pack. Like it's my
Yeah,
name is written as Dolmatas. And like a lot of my people just call me Dolmatas, because I don't know.
I did not know that. I
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing that. All right, Dolmades for the win, man.
Yeah.
Sean, brother, thank you from the bottom of my heart, man. Obviously I can't wait for the album to drop. I mean, I already have the album, but still I can't wait for everyone to hear it. Do you have any last words, any shout outs, anything you'd like to plug in or mention as far as MTS or a new music video before we finish things off here?
Well, I'm guessing by the time this comes out, the Man of God music video will be out.
Oh,
So
sick.
watch
Yes.
that. And
Yes.
then yeah, listen to Interview Under Fire, listen to Make Them Suffer, the self-titled album, listen to Man of God, and thank you for your love and support.
Sean, love your brother, man. Take care of yourself. Nothing but the best for you and the band for from here on out. Seriously, I wish you nothing but success. I can't wait to see you
Legend.
guys here in Dallas. I One of the first places I want to go to once I get my damn passport renewed is Australia, and Perth is
Hell yeah.
actually one of the cities. So I'll hit you up
Uh
if I'm ever down under. I would love to visit the area, just see how you
yeah,
guys, what is it that's in the water that makes you Aussies so crazily talented? That's what I want to find out. But
that's
every
beautiful. You'd love it. Yeah.
oh no, I would. Everyone, this is Sean from Make Them Suffer. Their self-titled drops on November 8th on Sharp Turn Records. Please do Sean and me a favor, guys. Buy the album because the bands can't do it without your help. And you've heard Sean talk about all the production that he's experienced and given out. So you don't want to miss them live on this. And go see them in China. Shit, just go book a trip to China if you've never been there before. It'll be worth it because Make Them Suffer will be there. So, so Sean, take care, man. Be safe. Let's stay in touch, and I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Thanks, man. Cheers,
All
man.
right, see ya. Bye bye.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to Interview Under Fire podcast. If you guys liked what you heard, please subscribe and share our channel. And please leave a 5-star review as that helps us tremendously. If you'd like to check out more, visit www.interviewunderfire.com or our social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And finally, we want to thank you all for the support you've been giving us. Keep it burning.